Hi, I am Oscar Alvin. I am the president of the National Auto Parts Association in Mexico, and we thank COTRA Mexico for this invitation and the opportunity to send a message to all auto parts manufacturers at Korea and auto parts manufacturers in Mexico. Thank you so much, COTRA. Great job. INA is representing the local manufacturers with the federal government, with the educational institutions and the society in different levels. We have companies as part of our board and companies part of our associated members from all over the world, all of them with manufacturing interests. Also, we are working together with some other automotive associations in Mexico for light-duty vehicles, heavy-duty vehicles, and EVs. And we have an excellent relationship and interchanging communication with different automakers and auto parts associations around the world. This is an incredible rainbow of the different companies that are part of this association of today. Now, I would like to start looking the map of the world manufacturing of passenger cars. Look at this. This is an incredible chart from almost 25 years ago, where we can see that 25 years ago, we used manufacture almost 80% of the volume in three different regions: United States and Canada, Western Europe, Japan, and South Korea. They were manufacturing 40 million vehicles, same amount of the vehicles that they are manufacturing on these days. Most of the growth is being on other countries like Mexico, like China, Eastern Europe, India, South America. So it is important to have a presence on those countries in order to increase your sales volumes. We can see here that in 2017, we were very close to go up to the 100 million vehicles in 1 year. Unfortunately, this year, we went down to almost 70 million vehicles, a big recession due to the COVID that everybody knows. But I'm sure that we are going to come back, and we are going to come back with a higher numbers. So today we are on 70 million, but I'm sure that in some years we are going to be breaking our record of 90. Here you will see different brands around the world where most of them are with the presence of manufacturing in Mexico. At least the most important ones, like a Volkswagen, Toyota, Nissan, Chrysler, General Motors, Hyundai, Kia, Ford, Honda, Daimler, BMW, Mazda, all of them with a presence of manufacturing in Mexico. Now, talking about the volumes by different countries. China is leading this graph with more than 25 million vehicles in 2019, but 96% of that production stay at China. Same happened with United States, the second one. That is 14% of the production is going outside the United States. So Japan, Germany, Mexico, and Korea are the largest exporters of cars in the world. So Mexico, very similar than Korea, we are most for export markets. We are the sixth largest producer, and we are the fourth most important exporter of passenger cars. Now, our market for auto parts and even for light vehicles and heavy-duty trucks is the North America, Canada, United States, and Mexico. And I want to share with you how the numbers of manufacturing in this region is looking. We could see 2019, a year, a standard year, normal year, that we were manufacturing above 16 million. Normally, we were manufacturing between 16 million to 17 million. This year, it was a big change, 2020, due the condition in the second quarter, where we dropped to 1.5 million. We will see that the second semester of this year is going to be almost even better than the second semester of 2018. We are coming back in the third quarter with 4 million, and the forecast for this fourth quarter is 3.82. So we are going to be stronger than the previous year. Now, for the 2021, we are going to be close to 16 million. Our magical number, 16 million, over 16 million. 2022, we are going to be 16.31. So we are going to come back to our standard comfort zone, that is between 16 million to 17. Now, I will pass what's going on in Mexico. Why the leading players continue moving to Mexico? Well, Mexico is in the center of the world. Yeah, obviously, how you move the world, any country could be in the center of the world. But Mexico is in the center of economical world, south of North America. North of South America, that is a very interesting, promising market. One ocean to Europe, one ocean to Asia. So we are really in a very strategic situation. Now, also, we have 600 tier one suppliers in Mexico, supplying all of them to the different brands of light vehicles and heavy-duty trucks that you could read on the bottom of this chart. Also, it is important to consider that we have more than 900 tier 2s, tier 3s, and raw material suppliers. Are they good enough? I don't know. I consider that we need more tier 2s and tier 3s, and we will talk about that later on. Now, we learned that Mexico is exporting most of the production of light vehicles, and this is thanks to the free trade agreement that we have. 13 free trade agreements with 52 countries that allow us to export this year the figure of almost 2.5 million vehicles and 64 billion in auto parts. Now, how important is the automotive industry for Mexico? Mexico is the second largest industry in the country. Automotive industry is the second one, followed behind the fourth industry, and behind those is the chemical industry and some other industry. So that is why automotive industry is really in the top of the priorities for any government that we have in this country. Now, talking about balance of trade, one thing that it was very, very important in for the president Donald Trump. Well, the automotive balance of trade between Mexico and the rest of the world is 75 billion of positive balance of trade. That is more than the tourism balance, more than the revenue from remittances and oil production. So today, the automotive industry is the industry that is providing a better balance of trade to this country. Now, talking about light production in Mexico, light vehicle production. This is incredible that how in the last 18 years, we've grown more than 150%, exactly 161%. We went from 1.5 million vehicles up to almost 4 million vehicles. This year is going to be 3, But we are going to come back again to the 4 million vehicles on production. Who are the largest producer in Mexico? From January to September 2020, that are the figures that we have from the government. We have General Motors, Nissan, Fiat Chrysler, Volkswagen, and all of them are totalizing 2 million. What are the vehicles with the largest producer is, you could see here that most of them are pickups or SUVs. And that is because the incredible hungry of the American buyers to get a pickup or a SUV in the United States. Now, what is the capacity used in Mexico? Today, we have been talking that we have 5 million vehicles of installed capacity. In fact, we have 5.3 million vehicles. Most of the factories are running behind the total capacity, but this is a particular condition for the 2020. I'm sure very soon we are going to see how the brands are going to start feeding and filling the orders, those plans. And we are going to be over the 4 million vehicles that is our record. Now, talking about commercial vehicles. Commercial vehicles are very important for Mexico and for North America. We are the largest exporter of heavy-duty trucks in the world. And you could see here that in 10 years, we grow more than 100% in the capacity of production. Last year, we broke our record producing 202,000 trucks in Mexico. Most of them were exported to the United States. So it is a good year for us in this market. I'm sure the heavy-duty trucks are going to be very highly interested to understand what is your capabilities in Korea, in South Korea, that could be used in this important use. Where are the automotive plants located? Many on the center of Mexico. You could see the region that we call Bajío are in the center of Mexico with many brands, especially brands from Asia. At the north of Mexico, we will see some North American brands like a GM, FCA, and Ford Motor Company. Also, the heavy-duty market vehicles are being produced in the center and corridor of Mexico. Most of them, the largest volume, are being manufactured close to the border, that is Nuevo León, Coahuila, and Baja California, because they want to be close to the market. Okay, let's talk a little bit about the perspective of the auto parts. Mexico is the 5th largest country in the world producing auto parts. We are going to produce this year $78 billion. And we are just behind China, United States, Japan, and Germany. Very similar with South Korea and Germany. So I'm sure the numbers are forecast, and potentially South Korea is going to be bigger than Mexico this year, next year. That doesn't matter. The important is that Mexico is as large in manufacturing of auto parts as Germany and South Korea. Now, what are the origin of those factors? 34% are Tier 2, Tier 3s with a Mexican capital investment. Others from the United States, from Japan, from Germany, from Canada, from France, and from Korea that are coming, and today they are around 2%. Sometimes these different nationalities could be considered as the Mexican auto parts sector is not really Mexican. I don't care if it's Mexican or not. What is important here is that with this different origin of capital, we have the opportunity to be, for one young engineer, could start manufacturing or producing or supervising a line in American company. 3 years later, maybe the same supplier part, he's going to a German company. 5 years later, to a Japanese company. That individual in 10 years is going to have the opportunity to learn the American way of doing manufacturing, the German, maybe the Korean, or the Japanese. So he is going to have an international training. And obviously that individual is going to be a real success and a superlative technician or operator of equipment, but with that opportunity to learn from different countries. Now, what is going to be our forecast for following years? Last year, we were $98 billion of manufacturing parts in Mexico. This year, we are going to drop to 78. But as I mentioned, we are going to recover for 2021 or 2022. Most of the auto part producers, same as the trucks, are located at north of Mexico. More than 50% of our production is at north of Mexico because 75%, 80% of what we are producing is finishing in a factory, in a factory of a new cars in the United States or Canada. We have, as I mentioned, the dark area named Bajío that are now land for many Japanese automakers. And today they represent 30%. Talking about employment, 90% of the employment in the automotive manufacturing industry is being placed in the auto parts factory. Almost 822,000 employers are working today in our industry. We are coming from 864,000. That is a reduction of 5%, but we are going to recover our capacity of employment in a couple of years. Now, talking about our production. Our total production this year is going to be $77 billion. 56,000 and 2,500 are going to be to the United States and Canada. 91% of our exports are going to the United States and Canada. But also, 53% of our imports of raw material and tier 2 components and tier 1 components are coming from the United States and Canada. So that is why North America, US, Mexico, and Canada are really what is important for the Mexican industry. Now, talking about the supply chain and where is your opportunity? Here, in a developed country like Korea, I'm sure, you have a perfect triangle. You have your OEMs. In Mexico, we are very lucky to have almost everyone. The most important tier 1s, 600, and the manufacturing processes for injection molding, chroming, forging, surface, many processes. We need, and we have less of 200 of P2s that we should have. How we are going to change this diamond shape into a triangle? Through the foreign direct investment, that is tier 1 Korean manufacturers located in Mexico will call the Korean tier 2 suppliers to come to Mexico and support them in Mexico. That is one way. Another way is linking Mexican supply base, because today there are many companies supplying the tier one layer of the supply chain, but they don't know each other. And that is something that we have to work very hard to identify the Korean opportunities into the OEMs and into the tier ones, but also the Korean opportunities to buy from American, Japanese, or European companies that are located in Mexico as a tier two. Now, what are the most important components that we manufacture? Harness and cables, seat components, engines, gearboxes, stamped, brake mechanism, airbags and seat belts, devices for air conditioning, lighting, all of them are summarizing $65 billion. I could mention that, remember those 60 million vehicles that is where we would like to be, between 16 million and 17 million passenger cars in North America, where all the wiring harnesses, all the seat covers, all the brake mechanism, all the airbags, all the seat belts are being manufactured in Mexico for those almost 70 million vehicles. So what are the most important imported components? Well, the components to manufacture the wiring harnesses, the components for the differential axles, components for the seats, and that kind of tier twos of those important tier ones. Let's talk about what are the final results of the USMCA or TEMEC, or the new version of the new free trade agreement. In the world, we identified three large areas where the manufacturing vehicles is bigger than any other place. There are another two countries important out of this map, that is Brazil and India, but they have their own economical system. And what I want to show here is that South Korea and Japan, when they have to buy components from a low-cost country, in South Korea and Japan, you have many countries like China, Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia, Thailand, and some other ones, where you could buy components with intensive labor. In Europe, it's happening something similar. You have Eastern Europe, you have Turkey, Tunisia, Morocco, Egypt. So you have like 9 different countries where you could identify opportunities to produce labor-intensive, low-cost countries. For the United States and Canada, there is Mexico. Only one country in all that tremendous region. So that is why Mexico is so important manufacturing out of our components, because we are summarizing in one continent everything that is happening in the Eastern Europe, in Turkey, in Tunisia, and in Morocco, or in Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Philippines. So that is why Mexico is so large. Now, how competitive is Mexico? Competitive in a standard factory of 700 employees, and to have 350 direct labor and some engineers and production, whatever. 700, it's a mix. Well, dollars per hour. Eastern Europe is the most expensive one, considering the low-cost countries, Czech Republic, Poland, Hungary, China, Turkey, Morocco, all of them are more expensive than Mexico. 3.7 is a standard dollar per hour in Mexico. I am talking not direct labor. I'm talking about average of an automotive manufacturing. Malaysia, Thailand, Tunisia, Vietnam, Philippines, they are even more competitive. Now, How important is the auto part in Mexico? We export last year $17 billion to the United States. We export in equivalent money in passenger cars almost 55 billion, and in heavy duty trucks 14 billion. So we export more auto parts than passenger cars and heavy duty trucks together. So really, what is important in the automotive sector in North America is the auto parts sector. So come to Mexico and be part of that important market. Now, what is the real opportunities that we have after this new NAFTA agreement? Here you will see all the imports that we have in the North American region from China, from Japan, from Germany and Korea. Only these four countries are totalizing almost $80 billion. 29 from China, Japanese, Germany, and Korea. Japan, Germany, and South Korea, we could understand it because they have manufacturing plants in the area, in the continent. So you have to deliver components, engines, and many other parts from your own country. But China, they don't have any plant of passenger cars in North America, and they are exporting $30 billion. So we consider that the big opportunity for this region is to bring some of the China, Japan, Germany, and Korea components into the manufacturers that are already installed in the North American region, or companies that will come from these big four countries into Canada, US, or Mexico. What's happened with the NAFTA and the new USMCA? At NAFTA, the light vehicles and pickups used to have only 62.5 of rule of origin. It was the only rule that you have to achieve in order to consider your car as a free of duties. Now it is going to be 4 rules for the light vehicles and pickups that are going to be very difficult to achieve. So it is going to be 75 for vehicle content. 70% of the steel and aluminum has to come from the North American region, and 40% in salaries higher than $16 per hour, and incorporating in NAFTA all the core parts. So coming from 62 to 75, and in addition, all these another 3 rules. So let's see what is the assumptions today. The American brands, General Motors, Ford, and Chrysler, because most of the engines and transmissions and drive shafts and axles are being produced in North America, they already have 17, maybe even more in some vehicles. The new manufacturing plants that came, most of them to Mexico in the last 5 years, they came and they are producing their first car. They came with the previous free trade agreement rules. And the previous free trade agreement rules allow them to come to Mexico, achieving 50%, and with the 50% for the first vehicle, they were going to be able to export the vehicle duty-free. Now they will have to jump from 50% to 75% in the next vehicle. And the North American with previous production, like a Volkswagen, Honda, Nissan, and Mazda, they are already in 62.5. So they will have to jump from 70 to 75, from 50 to 75, very high jump, 62.5 to 75. So that is going to be, in consequence, the obligation to buy more from the North American region. So that is going to bring us additional 9% on volume out of Mexico because that in particular condition. So we are going to have almost $10 billion of more purchase because the USMCA. And that is a big opportunity for any of you to participate in that incremental purchase in the North America. What is going to be the consequence if if a car is not achieving or a truck is not achieving the new rules? For the light vehicles and the heavy duty trucks, it's very minimum, 2.5%. But for the pickups and the Thorntons are going to be 25%. Auto parts that have to come from 60 to 65 to 70 and 75, depending on the auto part, it is going to be an average of 2.2. So the penalty is not really substantial in light vehicles and trucks, but in pickups and Thorntons is going to be impossible to export or to cross the border southbound to northbound or in reverse if you don't have the rules achieved. Now, remember the section 232 that is steel and aluminum right now around the world from the United States. Now, it was a study to the possibility to implement the 232 into the production of cars and auto parts. That will affect all the exports into the United States from South Korea, from Japan, or from Europe. And that is going to be a very big impact for many brands outside the United States. Look this. In the last year, outside the United States, outside of Mexico and Canada, the United States import 3.6 million vehicles from different countries, different brands. And for example, Italian brands, Ferraris, Lamborghinis, Maseratis, the people is going to be buying cars from those incredible brands, paying 25% more without any problem. But Korean brands, Kia and Hyundai export Korean cars from outside the United States, outside Mexico or Canada for almost 700,000 cars. Those 700,000 cars is going to be impossible to be sold in the United States with a tariff of 25%. Impossible. So definitely, if that is going to happen, the brands around the world will have to increase their manufacturing, in particular in the United States. Now, I'm close to be finished. Example of engineering centers. It's very expensive today to have an engineering center in an expensive country, obviously. And the brands, the OEMs and the tier ones, they have to increase their engineering capabilities and capacities for the new generation of vehicles. Autonomous driving, electric vehicles, hydrogen cells, whatever it's going to be is going to be different than we have today. And if you are not investigating in that new vehicles, you're going to be out of market. And you don't want to be on that. So OEMs like Volkswagen, like Ford, like FCA, like General Motors, like Nissan, they have a very important engineering centers in Mexico. Also, tier ones from Germany, from France, from the United States, all of them, they have a very good presence on engineering centers because we have a very good engineers in Mexico. Next, opportunities for the automotive and auto parts sector. The new rule of origins will have to, the OEMs and the tier ones will have to buy more components in Mexico. The trade dispute between US and Asia, it's a situation in order to increase the opportunities to land in Mexico to produce free of duties if you have the right local content. And finally, the OEMs are always pressuring the tier ones for cost reduction, especially on these days. So all of that are giving us the opportunity to increase our manufacturing auto parts in Mexico. But what we have to do, we have to have a very good country competitiveness, apporting a low-cost energy, labor peace, fiscal incentive to investment and security. I don't know if we are going to get that from the current government, but definitely it is going to be a challenge for us to convince the federal government that we have this big opportunity and we will need some additional activities or opportunities coming from that. Another important, and with this is I will finish. Next, in November 17 and 19, we are going to have a very important event, closed distance. This is going to be an expo and B2B meetings that we are going to have with different OEMs and different tier ones. Kotran, they already have a pavilion with many Korean companies trying to sell the products into Mexico. So contact Kotra Mexico or contact us directly in order to get the opportunity to be in this important event. We are going to have more than 120 buyers and more than 300 companies selling products from automotive products, injection molding, stamping, molding. Also, we have an important pavilion of tools. I know that South Korea are very important and very success producing injection molding, die casting, and also the stamping tools. So with this, thank you very much. Appreciate Kotra Mexico for the opportunity to send you and be able to introduce INA to all auto part manufacturers at South Korea and in Mexico. Thank you so much.